Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 6 4 key game picks of the NFL 2020 season. Now, before we talk about week number 6, obviously a lot went on in week number 5. I wish I had time to talk about week number 5, but unfortunately, time consuming, and I want to try to get this video as short as possible. A lot of things that went on week number 5, but obviously the big story that came out of week number 5 is Dak Prescott's injury. He did break his ankle. He will be out. He's out for the remainder of the season and probably in towards training camp. It's really tough to say the timeline of his injury, but anybody who saw the Cowboys-Giants game, it was really a brutal injury that Dak Prescott had. I mean, it was just painful to watch. A Joe Theismann, Tim Crumry type of injury that he had. It was just brutal. I know a lot of us NFL fans, a lot of us that don't like the Cowboys, but you got to feel for Dak Prescott, though. I mean, this guy poured his heart out to try to get the Cowboys to try to make the Cowboys a winning Super Bowl contender, but obviously that hasn't worked out well. Now his future is uncertain now with this injury, and in terms of the fact that there was no deal that was done in the offseason. Obviously the franchise tag took effect for him. And who knows if he'll still be around. He'll still be a Cowboy if he comes back. Some big upsets that happened in week number 5. The biggest one obviously was the Raiders beating the Chiefs. And I kind of said last week that yeah, I thought the Chiefs were gonna really put a number on the Raiders. I kind of figured it was gonna be a competitive game, and it was. But the Raiders dominated the second half of that game. And I'm not ready to, I'm not going to crown the Raiders just yet. I know a lot of you hate me for that because, there's tons of Raiders fans. And I know a lot of people, including myself, are not huge Raiders fans. But I'm not ready to say yet that they're a contender just yet. They have a long road ahead of themselves. And obviously the first half of the season is going to be brutal for them. But down the road, in all honesty, their schedule gets a lot easier in the second half. So if I'm the Chiefs right now, I would be just a tad concerned that the Raiders are moving. They're only one game back in the AFC West. Some football games got moved over because of coronavirus that affected some teams. And one of them was the Patriots Broncos. That game got moved. It was supposed to be played on Monday. That didn't happen. And the one game that did get moved, and that was the Bills and the Titans game, that got moved to Tuesday night. And obviously when I looked at some of these games, really, another one that really surprised me, that was a big upset, was the Dolphins just annihilated the 49ers. That to me was an ultimate shocker. Well, obviously the injuries are still affecting him. Jimmy Garoppolo, really in all honesty, he's not the same player. And I'm starting to wonder if the Jimmy Garoppolo time in the 49ers is starting to run out for that team. Another great, excellent performance by Herbert of the Chargers, but yet this is a team that just can't finish games. Obviously, the Saints did not play their game very well against the Chargers. They were trailing behind in the first half of that game. And then the Chargers defense, unfortunately, let the team down, and the Saints ended up winning in overtime. The game should have never gone to overtime, but unfortunately, Badgley's kick hit the upright. And unfortunately, and of course, the Chargers ended up losing in overtime. That team is just obviously cursed. They really are a cursed franchise. I don't know what to say. If you're a fan of this team, me being one of them, how treacherous and torturous this is. This is for me. But other than that, I thought the last week's games were predictable, and not necessarily. Some of them, obviously, some big wins. Big wins by the Browns. I actually nailed that pick last week. Browns beating the Colts. And really, it's really tough to say now towards the way how this NFL season is turning about here in the first half. But anyways, let's get into week number 6. Alright, beginning with key game number 1. It is the Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Cardinals are a 2.5-point favorite. That is because since now that Prescott is hurt and out for the season, now that Andy Dalton has to be at the helms now for the Cowboys. Speaking of Dalton went 9 of 11, 111 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions after filling in after Dak Prescott had that devastating injury, and the Cowboys winning at the last second on a last-second field goal to barely beat the Giants. Kyle Murray, 27 of 37, 380 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interceptions, and a big win last week. Cardinals are a slight, as I said, the Cardinals are a slight favorite at 2.5. I probably think it'll probably go to 2 points here. The Cowboys really have to look onto Andy Dalton now. Can he get this offense going? The key here is really to get Ezekiel Elliott and get that running game going to make it easier for Andy Dalton to pass the ball. But I look at Kyle Murray's mobility on the Cardinals side of the offense here. And obviously he'll use that to his advantage because the Cowboys defense is average. They tend to struggle a lot with the run. And the way I look at this game here, everything's going to rest shoulders on Ezekiel Elliott and Andy Dalton here. But I just think that it needs to, at this point on, I mean, the Cardinals are not a joke. They struggled. They had their little slump, but they did bounce back. And I think in this game here, I think the Cardinals, in terms of offense, is just a tad better on the offensive side. Defense-wise, both teams are evenly matched. And I'm actually going to pick the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals will barely beat the Cowboys here. It's going to be a close game all the way for 4 quarters, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals here. I think this will be a very close game. It might, pretty much I can see this game being low scoring, but I'm actually going to go with the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals will edge out a victory against the Cowboys here. It's really a tough pick here, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals in this one here. Cardinals over the Cowboys. Key game number 2, a big showdown in the AFC North. It is the Browns versus the Steelers. A meaningful game for the Cleveland Browns against one of their arch rivals, the Steelers here. It's been a long time coming for this Browns team to actually be more competitive than they've been in years. Now, Baker Mayfield last week in a big win, 21 of 37, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, but was intercepted twice in that game last week against the Colts. Roethlisberger in the big win against the Eagles, 27 of 34, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Steelers have an advantage in terms of their offense here. They're undefeated up until this point right now. And the way Roethlisberger has been playing and the way the Pittsburgh's offense has been playing so far, they are looking good. Now, Cleveland still has their struggles here. Obviously, Mayfield's still struggling to limit the turnovers here because he's still a bit of a turnover machine lately. But he's got to be able to manage here. Now, the Steelers are a 3.5-point favorite in this one here. Probably that will go to 3, maybe 2.5. I don't know. It depends on what happens in before kickoff. But I look at it in this game here. Pittsburgh is just on a roll. I'm not sure if this will be their toughest test so far because it's been a long time for the Cleveland Browns to have a meaningful game against the Steelers here. And do I see this game being close? It might be competitive for the first half of the game, but I just think the Steelers' offense is just a little bit too. It's going to be a little bit too much for Cleveland's defense to handle here. The Browns' defense has got to get to Roethlisberger in this game in order to have a chance. But I just think it'll be a competitive game. But I think the Steelers will run away with it in the second half in the fourth quarter. I think the Steelers' offense is going to be too much for the Browns to handle here. I like the Steelers in this game. I'm picking the Steelers here, and that's how I see it in this game. I think it'll be a competitive game maybe in the first half, but I think towards the second half and towards the fourth quarter, I think the Steelers' offense will take over. I think to me, it'll be a Steelers victory here. Steelers over the Browns in this one here. Key game number 3, a big one here, a matchup we've been waiting for. We finally get it again between these two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It is the Packers against the Buccaneers. Obviously talking about Rodgers versus Brady. Now, the Packers were on their bye week last week. They last played in week number 4 against a roly Falcons team that is a mess. In that game, Rodgers 27-33, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions in that game. Now, Brady last week, obviously he goofed in the fourth quarter, not realizing how many downs were there. And really, it's they better fix some issues here, because he went 25 of 41, 253 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. It's been a while since the Packers played the Buccaneers in Tampa, and Aaron Rodgers had some bad luck in there. Twice he's been into Tampa, and he ended up with an injury. Now, in this case here, I think he's going to be more prepared in this game. I really think that, the Packers are on a mission, and I said this plenty of times already in all my videos here. I still think the Packers are one of the teams to beat in the NFC. The way that they're playing right now, they are a huge Super Bowl contender right now. They haven't lost yet. Packers are a 2.5-point favorite in this one, and I think that'll probably go to 2. They'll probably be 2 points before kickoff. In terms of this game, now Tom Brady and that offense better find a way to expose that Packer defense, because Packers defense is, even though they're pretty average though, but they've done a fantastic job of making sure of getting that ball back to Aaron Rodgers, and getting that, and the way that Aaron Rodgers got that offense going here, especially with Jones. I mean, he's got his tandem, and really, they're just playing good football right now. Now, for the Buccaneers, like I said, their offense better get their act together. And obviously, where's Gronkowski? Where is he? Brady has got to get Gronkowski going again, and that to torch up that Packer defense here. Is this going to be a competitive game? Oh, it will be. It's actually going to be a close game. This is definitely one of the Packers' toughest tests yet. But I have yet to see the real Tampa Bay Buccaneers if Brady and that offense can finally get it going and stay in sync here. And obviously, it's going to be a challenge for the Buccaneers defense to get to Aaron Rodgers. So who do I like in this game? I'm going with the Packers here. I think, to me, the bad luck ends for Aaron Rodgers in Tampa. I think, to me, the Packers will beat the Buccaneers here. But it's going to be a very competitive game. I can see that. But I like the Packers in this one here. I think the Packers offense will be too much for the Buccaneers defense to handle. I like Green Bay in this one here. Packers over the Buccaneers. And finally, key game number 4. It is the Chiefs versus the Bills. This was originally a Thursday night game, but this game got moved to Monday. Obviously, because the reasons is because the Bills played on last Tuesday, and that is why for this week there'll be no Thursday night football. Other than that, the Chiefs are looking to bounce back here. They are a 4-point favorite in this one here. That number will probably go to 3, maybe. 3.5, probably. Now, Mahomes, 22 of 43, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in the big upset loss there to the Raiders. Now, Josh Allen went 26 of 41, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. It's a really tough pick here because both offenses are pretty good. It's all going to come down to defense here. Now, Buffalo does have their defense right now is a huge in question here. It's been a roller coaster for them. One week they're playing good, but then another week they're playing mediocre. It is really a tough pick here. Tough to say who wins this game here because it's all going to come down to whose defense plays better. This is definitely going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to go back and forth in this game here. But I can see the Chiefs bouncing back in this game, obviously, because they're looking to make a statement to the Bills. The Bills are still a huge contender here. But when you're playing against the defending champions here, I know that Patrick Mahomes are going to make a statement in this game here. It'll be competitive, but I'm picking the Chiefs in this one here. I think they'll bounce back in this game, and I really see them really trying to make a statement to the Bills. I think this game will be competitive though, but I'm picking the Chiefs in this one here. Chiefs over the Bills. All right, everybody, that racks up my 4 key game picks for week number 6. For every pick of week number 6, please check the description below, and I'll talk to you guys next week when I make my 4 key game picks for week number 7. So until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.